So magrolimab is a very unique drug. This works through a mechanism of action called CD47 inhibition. CD47 is expressed on the surface of tumor cells, and this interacts with SIRP alpha, which is present on the surface of macrophages. And this interaction basically shuts down or exhausts macrophages, and then the macrophages are not able to do their routine activity, which is to phagocytize the tumor cell. So about 15, 20 years ago, researchers at Stanford started looking at potential ways to harness the macrophages as a attacker to the tumor cells. And what they found is that if you blocked this CD47 SIRP alpha interaction, you could reactivate macrophages, and then they would phagocytize tumor cells. And this activity preclinically was most profound in acute myeloid leukemia and then in lymphoma. And so now, almost a decade later, we are starting to see those clinical trials translating into good clinical activity in those two disease subsets that were predicted, which are acute myeloid leukemia, also myelodysplastic syndrome, and then in lymphoma. So at this year's ASH meeting, we'll be presenting the data specifically in the acute myeloid leukemia frontline patients. Now, to kind of give a background, there has been a lot of progress in frontline acute myeloid leukemia therapy. We have, of course, azacitidine venetoclax treatment, which is giving us unprecedented CR/CRi rates of almost 70%, with the median overall survival between 15 to 18 months, and even 2-year survival rates of around 40%, which is major improvement compared to what we had historically with azacitidine. But at this year's ASH, you will see, and also there's published data showing that there are certain subsets that are not responding as well to azacitidine venetoclax, and there's still room for significant improvement. One of those is TP53. So now there have been 3 data sets, including the phase 1b study of azacitidine venetoclax, as well as the VIALE-A study published in New England Journal recently, as well as a oral presentation by Dr. Kim from MD Anderson that will look at decitabine 10 days venetoclax. And all these 3 publications, there's about 80 or so TP53 mutated patients. And what we're seeing consistently is that the CR/CRi rate is around 50 to 55%, which is not bad, but the median duration of response is only 4 to 5 months, which is not good. And the median overall survival is only 5 to 7 months. In fact, in our MD Anderson analysis, Dr. Kim looked at DAC-VEN versus historical studies with DAC alone in TP53 mutated AML. And we actually find that there was no benefit. Median overall survival was 5 months versus 4.5 months with the DAC-VEN versus DAC alone. So now we're even starting to wonder if the VEN is adding much at all. It does improve response rate. That may be a benefit. So now with the aza-magrolimab, what we have started seeing over the last year and a half is that not only are the response rates high in the general frontline AML, the overall response rate is about 64% with the CR/CRi rate of about 60%, but specifically in this high-risk group of TP53 mutated AML, we started seeing an enrichment of higher response and improved survival. So at this year's ASH meeting, we will be presenting, Dr. Salman, my colleague, will be presenting data looking at this combination of azacitidine magrolimab in all frontline AML, but focusing on TP53 AML. So we have a total of about 50 patients that will be presented here, frontline, older AML, not considered suitable for induction chemotherapy. 34 of those patients are TP53 mutated AML, where we expect with aza-ven CR/CRi rate 50-55%, median overall survival 5 to 7 months. What we're seeing with the aza-magrolimab is a CR/CRi rate of about 70%, so better than the 50-55%. But really more importantly, we're seeing the duration of response seems to be quite improved, almost 9.5 to 10 months. This is better than the 4 to 5 months published consistently with aza-ven, and more importantly, the median overall survival is coming close to 13 months, which is almost double of what we have seen, 5 to 7 months with aza-ven in the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and our MD Anderson study. So we believe there is a real path for the aza-magrolimab, clearly in TP53 AML. But what's interesting is that we did have a cohort of 16 frontline non-TP53 mutated AML patients. The enrollment, as you can imagine, was hard to this because aza-ven was doing so well and in the phase 3, and people were using that extensively. But what we actually see is that the CR/CRi rates are close to 60%, so a little lower than aza-ven, but not bad. But importantly, the median overall survival is 18.9 months, which is actually very similar to aza-ven, even in the TP53 wild type. So I think that the magrolimab has hopefully a very bright future. Initially, the approach is going to be to focus on TP53 AML with randomized studies looking at that population to get the drug approved for AML. But I think that there is an important role for this drug also in wild type, and maybe there doesn't have to be competition of aza-magro, aza-ven, but a triplet could be the solution to really improve survival and long-term outcomes, 3 and 5 year survivals. And so we have now started a triplet at MD Anderson of azacitidine, venetoclax, magrolimab for all frontline AML patients, including TP53 wild type and mutated. But I think that this drug will be an important one with a unique mechanism of action that we can combine with many of our other backbone therapies in the future.